As if someone's never been.
Yeah.
What's it all about?
So very early on when we first started this appeal, Kenya appeared to be the best place we could go to because we could get deliveries out there. But until you've actually been to Kenya and seen the places that we deliver kit to, you can never imagine what it's really like.
The potholes there, the sewage, it's everywhere and you can't even get away from it. You go out of one building and there's probably 2 stories full of garbage on the street and kids are going there kicking footballs.
Kenya is very much a country of those that have and those that have not. So there's lots of rich places, but there's no real middle class, and then there's almost the slums where people are operating on very little money each day.
It was an eye-opener, I'd have to say. Just to start off with, you're going, oh, it's a bit ropey here, but once you got to see the people, you know, it's a bad area, but it's good people who are trying to make a difference.
Yeah, some of Danny's stuff, I think. But it's clothes, isn't it?
Yeah.
My name is Helen Hope. I'm a wing commander in the Royal Air Force. I am the Danger Area Airspace Manager and Head of BM, Battlespace Management Assurance. So I look after airspace around the UK, where we do our air-to-air training and warfare, and I look after the assurance of battlespace management, so air traffic controllers and fighter controllers within the Air Force. The way it started is I suppose quite humorous in a way. So I had a rather drunken conversation with an ex-boss of mine, Wing Commander Christine Taylor, who's a huge football fan, Bolton Wanderers season ticket holder, and she said, you know, we've got all this football kit, why don't we collect it all together and send it out to Africa? And I went, yeah, that's not a bad idea. We sort of had to think about it, and then I started to work on, right, how could we do this? So because of my roles in RAF football, we started by writing out to different stations and saying, can you ask if anybody's got football kit and maybe send it to us, and then we'll think about sending it out to Africa. But as with everything, the hardest part about it is the logistics of moving the kit, as we found, because the cost of moving it is huge. So we looked at various different options through the military, through other charities, and basically it all came together. Airboxes go via Bryce Norton, so we've got permission for them to go on fill-up basis in the aircraft for any aircraft going to Nairobi or through Nairobi. So we send the boxes to Bryce Norton. Once the boxes get to Bryce Norton, they get stored in the night flying shed or in ops by the guys there. The air bills then go to air exports. We then wait for room on an aeroplane, so an aeroplane going out empty probably to bring the troops back from exercise at Batuk. They will then get a call forward for the aeroplane. They take them across with the air bills, and a couple of days later they go. So I think it can be anything from 10 days from leaving here and they're already in Nairobi, or it could be 6 months. It's quite important looking at what's in the boxes, because we fill them. We tend to try and make it so that each box has got a bit of adult kit, a bit of children's kit. Other boxes we're aiming at specific charities. So you can see with these ones, this is the Restart Centre up at Gilgil. We've been working with them for many years. Absolutely fantastic place, takes street children off the streets in Gilgil. Another box done. So, you know, that was early 2006. We're now 2022, and we've delivered, well, we're approaching 345,000 items including I think it's over 92,000 football shirts to 60 countries worldwide. And as you can see from the amount of stuff we have around us, we have a constant supply. We don't actually ask for kit anymore. It just comes, or the clubs will contact us. We don't need to go out anymore and ask for kit because we can only manage with a certain amount of kit. This whole area here is from the FA, Football Association, and England kit, so we regularly get a call, can you come and collect some kit, can you use it? And clearly this is absolute top quality England kit. So we've got half a room of men's kit and we've got half a room of the ladies kit, including the actual playing shirts, which are absolutely ideal because the women's sizes are absolutely ideal for places like Kenya, not just for the women, but it actually fits the gents really well because they tend to be a bit smaller than they are in the UK. So that is all sorted, it's catalogued so we know exactly what's there, how much stuff is there, and we slowly work through it as we fill the boxes. And then we move into the Leicester City kit in the corner here, which is all sorts of kit from Leicester City. If I can find something to show you. As you can see, it's not been sorted yet, so it's a little bit hit and miss as to what's in here, but it tends to be good. That looks like it's mostly Under Armour. You've got boots, you've got trainers, and they're from the actual players at Leicester City, right through to insoles, absolutely ideal again, and football kit. So lots of kit from Leicester City. Rob Owen, the kit man from Leicester City, actually came out on our last trip where we went to Kenya. The last trip was in February, so Rob helps us out with a lot of the kit from Leicester, but we've always had a really good working relationship with Leicester, and they constantly send us lots of good kit, including kids kit, because children's sizes are absolutely ideal for what we need.
My name's Robert Owen. I work for Leicester City Football Club. I'm part of the kit team here, the assistant kit manager. So there, I'm responsible for anybody you see on a pitch that has got clothing, players, staff. I have to make sure they have enough, along with my manager. So on a match day, the boots, everything, the player has everything. So we just basically do that. So it came from the Premier League, who sort of reached out to a couple of clubs. So we're running this, would you be interested? And my club secretary, Andrew Neville, who's on the board at the FA, he got in contact to say, look, if we could help Neil out, let's see what we can do. When I went away, a lot of people went, what are you going to Kenya for? So I explained it to them. I didn't realise you do that. So when I came back, I showed them quite a bit of footage of what we did. Like I said, showed James the Madison shirt. Oh, that's great. So any of their old boots now, they say, oh yeah, you can take all my old boots, you can give it to the kids. With Kelechi, managed to find a random field in Kenya, managed to get some signal, I don't know how. In Kelechi, we did an interview where we got 6 guests who had an opportunity to ask him a question about his football education, how it was growing up in Nigeria, how did he get involved in football, how did he get spotted, what was it like moving to Europe at such a young age, which I found the kids found it quite educational. I think every club, it doesn't matter whether it's a Premier League club, grassroots, EFL, they're always going to have excess stock, so it's what you do with it. So you can give to the local community, or the course Neil runs is perfect, I think. I've always said, as long as I stay at Leicester, that's the way the club will go.
I did my first visit to Kenya, I think it was late 2007, so we started the charity back in 2006. It was only intended to go up until the end of the World Cup that year, but it just ballooned and we just went from there. I did the first visit with my son. Sebastian came out in fact he was 16 when we were out there, and we just realised the effect that it had on us at that point in time was it did emotionally affect us. The things we were seeing for the first time, you know, it's all right reading about it in a magazine or seeing the reports on the TV and all this sort of thing, but actually being there and seeing it on the ground, it just had this incredible effect.
We are also happy to get visitors today. This is Forester School, and we are so happy, and we ask you to feel at home.
It then made sense to think, well, okay, we could take other people so that they can see what this is like, and especially youngsters. Today's society is a throwaway, have it today, throw it away tomorrow society, without a doubt. It is very easy. It's consumerables. It's, you know, you buy what you want when you want it, and then move on. It's totally different when you go out and see Kenya. You know, the children are so happy and smiling. And if you give them a football shirt or a football, it just means the world to them. And you can go back a year later and that child will turn up. They'll have grown, but they'll still be in the same football shirt. Football across the world is the thing that brings people together. It doesn't matter where you go, even the countries that don't really play football, you've still got that interest in football, and especially in English football these days because of the Premier League and because of the success of it. So wherever we go, you know, to give them kit from those clubs, they absolutely love it. And I think it just stuck by us, and we've since then built relationships with different schools, different orphanages, which we go back to every time we go. We'll take new people out there, and I think the difference for me is that I know what's coming. The people that come out on the visit don't know what's coming, and until they've actually been and seen it, it doesn't matter how many films you've watched about it or information you've read up about it, until you actually get there and get into the places like Kibera, places like Kibagari, or the wonderful Restart Centre up at Gilgil, you just do not know what it's going to be like. And it has a profound effect on everybody that goes out there. So, you know, my daughter had been a couple of times with us as a little girl. She went out when she was 16, in fact just before she was 16, and had spent a month at the Restart Centre, and it meant the world to her, and she just wanted to keep going back and keep going and visiting those places.
We were not a town until about 7 years ago. We had no infrastructure whatsoever. It wasn't really recognised because you've got big Naivasha and you've got big Nakuru, so we were nothing.
It was the second or third visit out to Kenya where I was introduced to Mary Coulson. Mary Coulson comes from a place called Astley, which is about a mile away from here, and we met her in Kenya, and she'd been in Kenya since she went over there as an 18-year-old to get married, and she's lived there ever since. So we went to the old Restart Centre, and it was a very run-down concrete building, you know, quite dilapidated, but the children there were happy. They were street children, so they rescue street children from Gilgil and various, and when you think, well, there can't be that many, you drive through Gilgil, there are hundreds of children on the streets, and most of those children live on the streets. Unless they're fortunate enough to get into one of the orphanages or one of the schools, that's where they live and that's how they live. So Mary takes these children in, and they take in an awful lot of abused children, badly abused, sexually, physically abused children, you know, emotionally scarred children, and they try and rebuild their lives for them. Mary basically raised money and used her own money to build a new Restart Centre, which is an absolutely fantastic place, and the children that get to go there are very, very fortunate, and they love it. So they teach the children, they home the children. It's, you know, the children live there, but they also work with all the schools in the area to get the children into the schools. They just give those children a life that they could never have had. They try and build them educationally and into adults who will go out and provide back and give back. A lot of them go on to be teachers. A lot of them manage to go to university. Kenya, as with most of Africa, has got a huge problem with HIV. And in Kenya, children who get HIV, a lot of them can be born with HIV because their parents have had it. They might not get the drugs to actually help them survive it. so their life expectancy could be shortened to 10 years, 15 years or less. One of the schools in Gilgil, there's a lady called Jane Dickow who runs a school called Loving Hands. She started it as an orphanage. She's been in about 3 or 4 different places around Gilgil since we first met her, and the majority of the children in her school are HIV positive. They get some drugs because they're able to do some links. They tend to be out-of-date drugs, but they're getting some drugs which will help. But obviously they've got a severely restricted life expectancy because of it. We first visited her when Charlotte was just a little girl, and we've got pictures of Charlotte, who must have been about 10 at the time, sitting with a little boy chatting to him. And when we next visited, that little boy had already passed away. I think February's visit was great. It was great to start with because Helen, my wife, and Charlotte, my daughter, were both there as well. Because Charlotte's older now, because she'd spent the month at Restart, she was a lot more used to Kenya and able to help others really on the way it worked. We had a really good team, quite a diverse team. We had people from the military, we had civilians. I mean, obviously yourself, Taylor, you were there. Rob Owen, the Leicester City kitman, was there. You know, lots of others. We had a lady from a school in York who donated a load of school uniforms. And I think it really worked because the team gelled really well together. The visits went well. It was a really nice visit, and yeah, we went so many places and delivered so much kit, and I think everybody that went had a really great time and enjoyed it and would go back at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, the build up to it, I was a bit apprehensive, probably the right word to use, because you're going to the unknown really. I've never been to Africa, so it was a bit new, but afterwards, what we experienced, obviously you know yourself, I'd do it again. If they said, look, I'm going to do it tomorrow, do you fancy it? Straight away.
2006, it was for 6 months, and then it went on, and we've had a few dips as we've gone along with either struggling to get kit in or struggling to get kit out, and it's always been, you know, how long will we keep it going for? But you know, it has become an integral thing for Kenya and for the children and the adults who receive the kit. As I say, we don't tend to have to ask for kit anymore, so we've got lots of kit and the kit keeps coming. So realistically, as long as we've got the delivery routes and as long as we've got the agreement from RAF Shawbury that we can continue to do what we do here, then we'll try and keep it going. It's all about the logistics really. If you haven't got the logistics, it's not viable. At the moment we have the logistics, we have the ability to keep going. Now we operate as a charitable appeal, so we don't operate with money. So we're registered as a charitable appeal, not a charity. We have discussed making that step up to becoming a full charity, but realistically it means you've got to get accountants, it means you've got to do, you know, the Charities Commission stuff and all those bits and pieces which currently we don't need to do. So I think we'll probably keep going as a charitable appeal for as long as we can. We have done some fundraising. We've done some fundraising mainly for Restart because when my daughter passed away, because she loved Restart, we started raising money for that. It's raised so far £37,000, which is just incredible. But we're doing that through Restart's UK arm of their charity, so the money goes straight to them, so we don't operate with it. I think the intent will probably be, because we were looking at, if we set it up charitable as a charity ourselves, we could then move money to other places to try and spread the love, if you like. Realistically, if that's too difficult, we'll just keep working with Restart because it's such a fantastic place, and we know that they will work across Gilgil and the local area, and we know that that is a legacy for our daughter.